Hello and welcome to the Patty Pod, Season 2, Episode 8. I hope everyone's doing well. I thought about maybe starting this off with some kind of a little rhyme or a joke or some kind of crazy intro, and then saying welcome to the Patty Pod. Maybe I'll do that next time. And that for some reason got me thinking about maybe I should just turn this into a shock jock morning radio show. Hey, Crazy Carl and Jimmy Jams, and they just say all kinds of crazy stuff and pull pranks on people, kind of scream at people. I think that might be a good move. I used to listen to these guys back when I was 18. They weren't quite that bad, but I think one guy would, do a sound effect. It would be like a horn or something, or a booga wooga noise whenever somebody said something stupid. That's where the true gold, that's where the true creative gold lies. Shock jock morning radio stuff. Say some outlandish stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll pass. So, had a pretty good week. I'm feeling good right now. I played 3 games of hockey in the last 4 days. It is Columbus/Indigenous Peoples Day. Sort of funny that we have both of those things on the same day. Kind of be like celebrating, I don't know, the Montagues and the Capulets, the Hatfield and McCoys Day, maybe. But that's America for you. That's America. As a sort of peacemaker, maybe it's something that I would come up with if I was tasked to do such a thing. So we, 3 games in 4 days. Friday night, Saturday was not a game day. Took care of some stuff around the house. We had a big day, kind of a banner day here in the Brooks Schwab household. We had the Container Store come and build some shelves for a couple of our closets. One of the closets was my bête noire, for you French speakers. Don't at me, bro, on the pronunciation. But it was my, I forget what that translates into literally, but it's like the bane of your existence. This one closet, I think, is a New Yorker. Closets are even more important because you have such a little amount of space. I don't know. I guess we live in a 1-bedroom, so maybe that's sized for just a couple. I don't know what I would do if there was a kid in the mix here. I guess we wouldn't be in this apartment, but we had this one. It's just stuffed with stuff, and if I ever needed something that wasn't in the front row, I'd be knocking things over. I'd be not being able to see. It was a mess. It was driving me crazy. Found myself swearing at inanimate objects, which, it can do a little of, but when it's constant, when you're constantly telling a bottle of shampoo to fuck off, or a deodorant stick to go to hell, I think that's a sign. But in any case, Kate found this place. We did a little comparison shopping with another place. Went with these guys. They built a bunch of shelves. They did one at a right angle. So one's kind of goes the long way of the closet, and then it connects immediately at a right angle in the corner to another shelf that goes the short way, which was great. Lots of space. This is 43, baby. This is 43. This is living. I was excited. I could see all my hockey jerseys. They weren't stuffed in one gigantic pile. I can see the cleaning supplies separated from the beauty products. That used to kind of, when those things would intermingle, made me kind of upset. Like, what kind of life am I living here? If the Tilex is mixed right in next to the moisturizer, what if the chemicals commingle somehow through osmosis? So I didn't like that, and there was some of that fraternizing amongst the amongst the cleaning supplies and the health and beauty. But now they're totally separated, and feeling good about that. Feeling real good. And what else? It was an up and down week. My sleep wasn't great. I'm on a new sleep strategy that I'm really. I was speaking to a friend on Friday night at the bar, and that's where we go after hockey. I have seltzer waters, and had a bowl of Cajun fries this week. Had a light dinner, and after I play hockey, I'm ravenous. So I treated myself to a bowl of Cajun fries. I try not to eat too late, but there I was, and chatting with a friend, somewhat of a new parent. I think his daughter's 2-ish, and we were discussing those early days when she didn't sleep through the night and how tough that was. And that's something that I have always sort of feared from a distance, looked at with fear and trembling. 6 months or so of waking up at 2-3 hour intervals. Sort of often said that's a torture technique used against enemy soldiers. So I haven't done it, but anyway, he mentioned that once he was able to get past the 6-month mark and he could get himself 6 hours of sleep, he felt like he could do anything. So I've been having a little trouble sleeping in the last couple of years. Not terrible, but not great. And I really do feel it when I don't sleep. I'm quite particular about my sleep. And anyway, I thought to myself, last week I stayed up, played hockey. We play the same time every Friday in this particular group. And we go to the bar, and I come home, and I'm still wired from the socialization. So it takes me a little while to calm down. And I usually end up not going to bed till 1 a.m. or so. But I get up at 6 in the morning during the week, so I can't sleep much past 7. Oftentimes my body will get up, sometime even before 6. And so I'm sort of laying there. Anyway, it makes for tired Saturdays. And that's just been a problem I couldn't seem to solve. But last week I told you guys, I'm not sure if I did. Last week I went out to, I didn't tell you guys all this. I went out to a neighborhood called Forest Hills in Queens. It's this kind of self-contained little community where they have all these, I guess they're Tudor style buildings. And it's just sort of like block after block after block of the exact same architecture. Somebody made some big development back in the day. I think they're all pre-war buildings. And so it's kind of unique in New York City because it looks like, this whole particularly designed community. And it's nice. They have some good stuff. Anyway, I went out there. I went to J. Crew Outlet. And I went to the Banana Republic Outlet because I am bougie enough to shop at those at J. Crew and I guess Banana Republic, but not quite bougie enough to go to their regular stores. So there I was. It was like an hour trip. And as I was on the train, I started nodding off. I did it 2 or 3 times for little 2-3 minute little naps there. And, I felt better. I didn't feel great, but I felt better. And I thought, aha, this is my solution. I'm going to nap on Saturdays. That's the deal. I know my body's going to get me up. So at some point on Saturday, I'll nap. So I kind of thought I had solved all of my problems when I made this realization or this plan. So that was my plan going into this weekend. Did the same thing, played hockey, hung out, got home a little bit earlier, but didn't end up getting into bed until probably 1. Got up Saturday as normal. It's probably 7 o'clock or so. And I had to go about my day, but I was super tired. And I had to do this closet stuff. We had taken every item out of that one hall closet, our main one. The one that was killing me. My bête noire. hope I'm saying that right. And it was all just piled up in the living room. So we had to organize. We had to sort through. We had to do some, what's the word I want to use? Thinning of the herd. We had to, make some decisions about what we wanted to throw out. And then kind of be strategic about how we put things back and organize things. So it was a task, and I knew I wasn't going to be up for it unless I had a little caffeine. So I did that, had a little quarter caffeine. Didn't even really feel it, but maybe it kicked in a little bit. So I was trying not to do that so that I'd be able to nap, but I did try to nap. It was okay. Okay, not great, okay. And that was Saturday. And so I'm hoping this next weekend I nail it even more. Saturday was kind of rainy, so I didn't play hockey. Sunday was a nice day, back out there. I slept okay Saturday night, even though I had napped for 20 minutes or so. So I think my plan is working. Anyway, I played hockey Sunday. That was great. Great to get out there. Felt a little sluggish because of the fatigue, and I'm not quite back into hockey shape. But getting there, and it's been great to play. So I did that. We had my father-in-law's birthday dinner last night. Did that. Had today off for Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, as I mentioned. Was back on the hockey rink. Stoked about that for bonus hockey, as we call it. Pretty good crew turned out. There's a bunch of young, talented players that have joined the game in the last year, even in the last 3-4 months. So it's fun to try to keep up. That was today, so I'm feeling pretty good with all that hockey. Big Twins win yesterday. Just pretty excited about that. Been texting with an old friend, Brandon. A man I grew up with, who's a big baseball fan. Shout out, Brandon. I don't think he listens, but I'll give him a shout out. Maybe if you know him, you can pass that on. Guilt him into listening to the podcast. That's my growth strategy. That's my audience development strategy. You loyal, faithful listeners, you guilt people who know me and aren't listening. I think that's, if I understand personal growth people correctly, I think that's what they would advocate for a business growth model. If I know business school people, if I'm at Wharton School of Management, I think there's probably going to be that theme will be struck a number of times. So that's going to be a plan. So I'm feeling good anyway. So it was a fun day to play. Got back. I spent a little time in the woods here by my house in Prospect Park, which is just a jewel. Bit of a lifesaver for people who need nature, like me. People who were maybe born in a place like northern Minnesota, where there was more than just a few trees here and there. So it was great to be there. I had to find some plant-like non-plants for a lesson I'm going to be teaching. And it was kind of fun. It was kind of like a little scavenger hunt. Found a fern. Had to get some moss. Had to get some algae, which I think might be pronounced algae. I looked it up the other day on Google, and I did the little pronunciation button. What a wonderful little tool that is, huh? For all those people who lived pre-internet, had to kind of guess, I guess. Well, unless they spoke the IPA, or they knew the IPA notation, which is pretty rare, I think. That's what they show you in the dictionary, and you're supposed to figure out how to pronounce something from that. I know kids that took a whole class on that in college, some music friends of mine. In any case, you can just press a button now. Ain't life grand? So anyway, I got a little sample from the pond there, and some mushrooms, some fungi growing on a tree. It was good. If I would have been able to find stuff, maybe I wouldn't have liked it so much, but I hit it. And I was just sort of like one after the other as I was making my way through the park. It was like it was meant to be. What can I say? There's a synchronicity, maybe. Finding all the things I needed as I was going from spot to spot. So now I'm back, feeling a little bit of that exercise high, feeling a little bit of that nice soreness, that nice fatigue, even a bit of the hygge that I spoke about last season, that coziness. Temperature finally cooled off a little bit. I got to wear my new coat that I bought from the J. Crew outlet store. Half off, baby. Just feeling pretty good about that. Do I need it? Absolutely not. Do I have another one just like it in a different color that I wore 2 times last year? Yes. But you gotta just shop every once in a while. You gotta look cool, even if you don't get to wear your stuff super often. You guys maybe remember I'm looking for a jacket. Still on the hunt for a jacket. That's gonna be a bear. I can just feel it in my bones. I spoke a little bit. Just as you would think it's simple. I just want like a navy or gray, lightweight jacket with a normal collar, not a stand-up collar. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. We'll see. It just seems like it's almost like the clothing companies are like middle school girls, and they're just terrified to deviate from each other. Maybe I wonder who the queen bee is. I don't know, but they're all locked in there for menswear. So let's go to the essay corner. I'm going to read you guys one about a former worship space that I visited back in the summer. Okay, here we go. Today I continue my adventure in writing by visiting a new place then writing. Today I visited the Angel Orenson Foundation, a museum and event space in the oldest synagogue building in New York City. My friend was late for lunch at a nearby restaurant, so I took advantage of the free time. The space was tall, 3 stories, I believe, and had a fair amount of ornamentation in the stone and woodwork. I have a hard time recalling the details because I felt a bit rushed. When I rang the bell, a man who didn't speak English very well asked if I had an appointment. I told him I didn't and asked if I could just see the space quickly. He agreed and was friendly, even turning on the decorative lights as they would appear during an event. I looked up often as the lights turned magenta, orange, blue, and purple, lighting up the ceiling and the balconies that wrapped around the main space. It was an old and somewhat worn building, but ornamented in an old synagogue way. With the lights, it had a kind of a bohemian, savage feel. That tipped just enough in the direction of me liking it. I thought it was a touch shabby to be for the likes of the Sarah Jessica Parker Matthew Broderick wedding, but apparently they saw it how I did. I wanted to view the framed work on the walls of the second floor, but the nice man who was hosting told me that floor had wet paint. After visiting a church, this was my second sort of religious building in 2 days. Even though I didn't spend much time here, and the place was not a working synagogue, I could feel the difference. It did have a stage altar area, but I think the fact that the building was square rather than cross-shaped like a church prevented the automatic religious associations to flow through. I didn't feel the heaviness or soberness I often feel walking into a church. I did feel a bit of the kind, pacifying quietude, though, was thankful for the respite it provided, and through it felt the kinship with the Jewish immigrants of the 19th century who built the place. So that's the essay corner. Takes me back to that hot day. It's kind of funny to read these some months later. Kind of fun. Kind of like a travelogue through time. I had a thought about just mixing it up, being goofy, doing something different. I like to just sort of play. I like the idea of sort of playing around, goofing around, like I would when I was a kid, maybe, as a teenager. So I thought about doing that with being like aggressively friendly with strangers. For example, I saw a guy on the train, he had an Adidas bag. He was sitting across the seat from me. And kind of like how he looked, how he's dressed. He had sort of a windsuit on. I sort of assumed that he wasn't born in the U.S. Like maybe he was Bangladeshi or somewhere else in South Asia or the Middle East. And I was wearing Adidas socks at the time, and I really wanted to point and be like, "Hey, Adidas, all right." Maybe give him a high five just to see his reaction. I think he probably would have been very confused. I don't know why I want to do this stuff. I'm 12. I mentioned that in the first season. I'm really a 12-year-old at heart. I mentioned I went to the J. Crew outlet and the Banana Republic factory stores. When I was there, I was trying on... I brought like kind of a full outfit into the change room. I had a pair of khakis, a fleece shirt, a coat, the coat that I bought, and a belt. I had them all on. I was trying them all on at once. And I really wanted to just walk out and be like, yep, nothing fit. Okay, so you all have a great day. See if anybody noticed me walking out with 6 pieces of theirs. They had a hell of a playlist going. Really, I enjoyed it. I especially if you're a middle-aged person, you would have thought it was a hell of a playlist. They had a little Easy Lover. Easy Lover, you got a heart, but you don't feel it. Oh, it's such a good song. That's Phil Collins and Philip Bailey. And then, a little Land Down Under by Men at Work, always a classic. I play both of these really often. They're in heavy rotation in my playlist listening, especially Land Down Under. I mean, I feel like if I had a record, I would have worn a groove through that part of the record. It's been so much over my life. But it's weird. My favorite songs like those always sound better to me in public. Whenever I hear it, I don't know why. I could obviously play them anytime I want to on my own phone, and I'm always listening to music, but I love it when a store is playing it or something like that. I think it's because I like the sense of a shared experience, like the other people are listening to it with me in the store, the workers and the other customers. It's kind of like when I talked about liking to watch live TV, which is even a little bit weirder, obviously, because I can't see anybody that's also out there watching it, but I feel like I'm sharing an experience. We're social creatures, of course, and I don't know. So I was singing really softly, kind of, as I was walking through the store. I noticed this middle-aged lady, she was also singing along, and I was like, this is great. This is great. We don't get to have these experiences too often, it seems like. It's kind of a nice little moment, which I sort of live for. Nice little moments. That's my, maybe that's my turn to the spiritual corner, living for these little moments. We had some great news in the roller hockey world. Our spiritual home of West Side roller hockey, the west side of Manhattan, is at a place called Houston. It's where I first started playing. It's on Houston Street and 6th Avenue in Manhattan, which is it's an intersection of Greenwich Village, I'd say the West Village, and Soho. And it's a very, very fashionable neighborhood. There's a lot of beautiful people walking around. And it's just kind of got a fun vibe. A lot of people are kind of doing brunch on the weekends, and their tourists are walking around, and people seem to be having a good time, being happy to be there. Some good restaurants around, good shopping around. Many of the guys really like it because of the pretty women walking around. So it's sometimes easier to get a game. Anyway, the surface there deteriorated really badly, and we weren't able to use it. And we started the process of trying to get it repaved. And it was 4, 5, 6 years in the making. COVID threw a big monkey wrench. The rise of pickleball threw a big monkey wrench because the space was taken over by pickleball players, because even though the cracks that had developed made it unusable for us, it was still suitable for pickleball. So in any case, we got it repaved, and we're working to finally get a permit, and they've been really supportive of the Parks Department. We've had to have a couple of meetings with the community board that has jurisdiction in that area, and a lot of people, the pickleballers, have alienated a lot of people they sort of inundated the space, and they have a lot of people who have to wait a while, and so they're not very cooperative with other people who want to use the space, and they have kind of alienated themselves from the rest of the community. So in any case, we got this thing repaved, which is a small miracle, I think, in New York City, to get the city to do anything with all the bureaucratic red tape surrounding projects, capital improvement projects in the city, and to be able to get a permit and all that. And it just sort of reminded me of the wu-wei concept, which some people translate as effortless action. I've talked about it before. I sometimes think of it as sort of the third way, thinking about a third way rather than just maybe either or scenarios, and where it's so easy to get locked into that, right? Like, I don't know, you're either a nice boss and you win people over and they are motivated because they like you, or you're a mean boss because and you intimidate people into doing things. That's sort of either or, and nobody thinks about some kind of third way, like maybe just being a fair boss. I think maybe is the third way there. Or you could make people so afraid of how much they love you if you're going the Michael Scott route. That's another third way. Michael Scott's a great third way thinker. But anyway, so the Wu Wei, third way thinking, we didn't just kind of start writing angry emails to the Parks Department. We had one member of our group who really took this project on, and he had some fortuitous moments. He met somebody, a Parks Department employee, at a dinner party that I was at with him, but we also somehow we got to know somebody more senior, and he just built these relationships and was very accommodating and very friendly and very reasonable, and just put in the time, and kind of charmed these people, and in a good way. And lo and behold, it wasn't fast, but we got it done. So outside the box thinking. Reminds me of the topic of water, or the metaphor of water in Taoism too, where something soft can overcome something hard, like how water will erode away rock given time. So we try to be like water, or we were like water, and it worked, which was awesome. My friend, I shouldn't say we, it was really my friend who did it. So a little bit about the Wu Wei in the spiritual corner. I think I told you guys my parents were in town last week. It was great to see them. They were here for the Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. We had the 3-day weekend at my school for Yom Kippur. Pretty common in New York City to have the Jewish holidays off. So my parents planned a trip, and I think I've told you my dad is just trying to get a big funeral. I figured him out after all this time. He's so friendly to everybody all the time, and I think that's what's going on. I'm gonna make that point at his funeral. I'm gonna get up there and tell people I'm not impressed by their attendance, that I'm annoyed. I had to endure many a conversation with a complete stranger just to have them there. So get ready for that. My mom told me that they were on an elevator in the hotel that was so packed that her nose was touching the elevator door. And when the elevator got to the ground floor, my dad turned to everyone and said, "Everyone have a great day." I mean, just couldn't help himself trying to have an interaction, even in the last split second that he was ever going to be with that group of people. So that's my dad. That's he's a listener, so there you go, Dad. It's a shout out. I'm on Instagram and Facebook more than I want to be. That's something that's true. I see there's a lot of booty shaking going on there, a lot of posing. I'm not here to preach, but I do think we need more creativity from these ladies, especially that are on there, and some of the dudes, I guess, too. I mean, but it seems like more women. They, it's like we see the boobs, we see the butts, Let's get original here. Like, when is the buzz around some social media post going to be something like, look at the knees on this girl. Unbelievable. I mean, her ACL looks so intact, like no meniscus damage at all, my man. You know what I'm saying? Or something like, oh, I want to hear a dude be like, bro, did you see that girl? Did you see Kim Kardashian's post? Like, oh my God, her elbows, how functional. What kind of range of motion she got? Like those things. Woo, doggies. That's what I'm looking for. So let's get creative, I mean, I don't want to say do better because I don't like that. It's kind of I hear that. It seems kind of bro-y, but, let's take it up a notch. Got a letter from my insurance, my health insurance. It was signed by the CEO. They did that thing where, they try to make it personalized, I guess. The letter was just there to tell me that they were going to be modifying my plan a little bit. And what that meant, we don't know what the premium is going to be, although it goes up every year, so I'm guessing it's going to be going up again. But they will be dropping vision and dental. And I wanted to, one of the directors of my school is like super nice guy, and he's always trying to build everybody up, his staff, vendors even. There's a guy that comes and does some repairs every fall right before the year starts, and I think he comes in the spring, and he'll always be like, Damien is just, what a wonderful job you do, Damien. It's just, you're doing such incredible stuff, and you can fix anything, and and I thought I wanted to call the CEO of my health insurance company and be like, because she signed the letter. I'm like, Taylor, you are just doing incredible stuff over there. Like, I don't know how you guys once again pull these rabbits out of the hat. Square the circle. You're able to not only raise my premiums, but drop my vision and dental at the same. You guys are just wonderful. You're just amazing people, and you're killing it. I mean, you guys are so kudos to the health insurance companies out there. Wow. I thought about some idioms. We're going to go to the language corner for a minute. Some lost idioms. Stuff I heard in the 80s that I just don't hear anymore. One of them's read 'em and weep. People read 'em and weep. Or read it and weep. I was like there was more kind of soap opera stuff out there. I feel like that's something from, like a soap opera villain would say. Would hand over a contract or something to her enemy and be like, read it and weep. I think I'm going to bring it back. Next time I'm at the outlet stores like I was and I get some deal, I'm just going to post pics with captions on social media and just read it and weep. Just, to all my social media friends. I also eat your heart out. Eat your heart out. That's always such a good one. If you wanted to say to somebody, be very jealous. So I'll do that too. If I get, 10 pairs of white tube socks for $25 or something like that, I'll take a picture. Eat your heart out. Eat your heart out, America. So look for that. I'll be trying to think of some other ones as we go along here. Speaking of social media, I know pictures of ladies' feet are big too. It's another deal on the internet. Some ladies make a living off of that. I'm thinking about getting into that game. Why not? I'm always looking to do new things and make that coin, baby. Make that coin. So reach out if you're interested. Let's make a deal. We can have some kind of a private deal for maybe I'll get subscribers or something. It's part of the Patty Brooks, the P Brooks, the Nightmare experience. It's just, I've got this I've got this active, fecund mind that's just always operating, always creating. That's just who I am. That's what the historians will talk about. I was thinking this week I saw posts. I joined a group called something like Old Time Duluth and Superior. It's great. It's totally. It's a Facebook group. I'm guessing the median age is 68 in that group. It's a lot of people who post old photos of Duluth. It's awesome. Actually, it's not that awesome. Half of it's really boring, but every once in a while there'll be something that's interesting. And I don't know. I do love that people like this stuff. Some guy posted. He's from a small town, Wisconsin, and he said somebody posted something about Marsh Nelson, and I remembered I had some stuff from KDLH. That was the news, the local, one of the local news stations, and so he posted this stuff. He had a letter from them. It's a letter from Marsh. Marsh was thanking him for his well wishes. I guess Marsh had has some kind of health issue, and he's starting to feel better and get his voice back. It was a sweet little letter. And Marsh, I've heard, was a great guy. He was just like a sportscaster that had been in Duluth for 60 years. Something crazy. Like, he had a super long career. And I think I'm sure they're all good people, but one of the things that he posted was something called a talent card. And it had the news team. It was like from 91. It's the KDOH news team. And it had, it was just like a postcard that had a photo of the five of them. It was Marsh, and then these two guys and these two women. I assume one guy's the weather guy, or maybe one of the women was the weather woman, and the other ones were the news anchors. And, it's Ron Burgundy, 1991. They have the coif tear and the suits. The suits were a little bit, bigger back then. And they had the kind of cuffed, those hemmed, sort of hemmed with the cuff at the bottom. And and then they all autographed it. A talent card. Like, I don't know, I guess they called them the talent. Like, they call actors the talent in Hollywood. It's just stupid. Obviously, I think everyone has talent. Of course, everyone has talent. So, to single out one group. It's one thing if it's actors and they're famous, though. It's like a little bit more understandable. But man, it's a news team from a pretty small city in northern Minnesota, and they not even have a card called the talent card, but they autographed it for somebody. I couldn't get enough of that. I had a good laugh at that. Love those guys. Shout out. You guys are killing it. Whoever you are, I should have got their names, but fly high Duluth. Speaking of Duluth, I thought to myself about my ancestors who first came to Duluth. What was the conversation? I assume it's the man that proposed this, and he must have been like, honey, I think, some of them came from Montreal. I think some came from Iowa. Some came from Iowa on my dad's side. And, can you just be like, I'm thinking about Duluth. Or no, they would say at first, they would be like, thinking about Minnesota. And then somebody would be like, oh, okay, like Minneapolis? No, colder and less light. That's what I want. I don't know. Because there was no amenities back then, and I think Minneapolis wasn't that much different, maybe, back then, just a little bit bigger, but there's still, I get it now. Duluth, don't at me. I love Duluth, I love the outdoor stuff, but I do wonder about how that first conversation went. All right, well, that's it for this week. I hope you all are well. Peace and love.